I'm going to record. So you may see a notice come up, then you just have to okay that this is being recorded. So I'm getting 7 o'clock. Anybody else getting 7 o'clock?
Yes.
Yep.
All right, then we're going to start on time. Well, welcome everyone to this District 23C inaugural GLT session for this Lion year, and welcome to those of you in attendance. I know it's kind of a tough time to start these things, but because we're in the middle of summer, I get it. But we do have a pretty decent turnout. I'm pleased. So I'm going to ask that you mute yourselves until you are speaking. And I'm going to also offer an apology for Michelle Wyatt. Past District Governor Michelle is our GLT person, Global Leadership Team coordinator, and she's running a little late getting home from work. She will try like heck, I guess, to join us at some point during this session. So I would like just to hear, we have multiple districts here on this broadcast tonight, and I would like to hear from each of you what you chair, well, what district you're from, what you chair, and how long you've been a chair. So I'm just going to work down the list myself here. Darla, what are you chairing, and for how long?
I'm first year zone chair, and I'm first year on the veterans chair. So I'm a newbie.
And I see Alan Gio is logged in. It may not be Alan, but whoever is on Alan's channel.
Hi, it's Lisa. How you doing? I'm Lisa from the Cromwell Lions in 23C, and I am the Kindness Matters chairperson, and I'm also involved heavily with the Leos. I'm not quite sure what title they're going to stick on me, but I do both. So I'm a 2B as well, Darla.
And next up is Jim Tripp. Thank you, Lisa.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm not sure. There we go. Well, good evening. No, I'm Jim Tripp. Sorry, just running from one meeting to another. So and that one got out late. Second VDG of District 23C, and the pleasure of serving this year as the GMT.
And there's someone from the other side of the river in Eastern Connecticut. I don't have a name, whoever that is. Thanks, Jim.
Hi, PCC, Hilary.
Hi, Terry.
I think that's is our first VDG Eileen on the call?
She is.
Is that the 889? Here she is.
Yeah, I'm here.
Terrific. So our governor is with us today, and great to see you, Terry. I'm sorry I didn't recognize the Eastern Connecticut Lions as you. So
Yes, thank you for doing this presentation, Brother Hilary. And I'm sure now Steve Martin. Steve, can you unmute yourself?
I can.
Hello there. Welcome.
Hello. How we doing? Can you hear me?
yes, Steve.
All right. Excellent.
So you are representing.
Yeah, so
Go ahead.
I'm so Lionsville Vision Liaison for District 23C.
Wonderful. Welcome. And who else do we have? We have Eileen Akers, who's a VDG. Eileen, do you want to say hi?
Oh, of course I want to say hi. And on the cabinet, I represent the Bureau of Education and Services for the Blind. And of course, on the council level, Oh goodness, I don't know how many. I think I'm on about 6 different committees, and I'm always trying to learn. And I am delighted to be here tonight.
Terrific. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
And Janice Estee is also on with us.
Yep. Hello, I'm from 23C. I'm a zone chair, first year.
Excellent. Welcome. We have Lynn Johnson.
Hello,
Hey,
I'm Lynn Johnson from the Middlefield Lions, and I am the chairperson for the Connecticut Lions Eye Research Foundation, better known as CLERF.
terrific. Welcome. Mark Benenson. I recognize that last name.
Yeah,
Thanks, Lynn.
good evening. Mark Benenson. I'm the second vice district governor from 23A. I am also the GLT, low vision, clerk, trustee, Lions Alert. And I think that's it right now.
Terrific. Welcome, Mark. We have Nanette Burdick.
To unmute myself. Good evening, past council chair Hilary and everyone. I have a couple little hats here. First of all, I'm going to switch over to my husband. He's a little under the weather, so I'm going to report for him. He is the co-chair for the pin traders. That's Bill Burdick. And now my my responsibilities this year will be hearing preservation, assisting immediate past district governor Sue Fisher. Also resuming my chairpersonship, I guess you would say, as KidSite USA chairperson. And also the backup for Lynn Johnson for clerk.
Terrific. Thank you, PCC Nanette. And we have Paula Roswell on with us as well.
Good evening, everyone. I am from the Canterbury Club. I'm in 23C. I am a second year zone chair. I am a second year on the marketing committee, and I'm the multi-district chair for the marketing committee. We had our first meeting last night. Sorry, Hilary, you couldn't get in. There was a little technical issue on my end. I've also been a GLT for 23C and Peace Poster Contest.
Terrific. Welcome. So did I miss anybody? Again, I'm not seeing everyone's face. So did I miss anyone that's on this?
Just Susan Estee.
Susan Estee, please go ahead.
23C LCIF co-coordinator.
Terrific.
First year.
Welcome. And I just saw the smiling face of Kenny Tucker.
I couldn't tell if I was on camera or not. Good evening, everybody. Ken Tucker, past council chair for 23C. This year, I am co-chairing our environment committee with past district governor Julie Shalofsky.
Terrific. And I believe that is everyone. If I miss somebody, then please weigh in. Who's this on the iPhone? That's all I'm seeing is iPhone.
Yeah, that's me, Hilary.
Ah, got it. All right, Ken. All right, so I'm going to proceed with our session here. I would like to, my screen is not advancing for whatever reason. But we have a few objectives. One of them is to describe district chairperson roles. Another is to review district chairperson responsibilities. And then finally, to locate and explore district chairperson resources.
Excuse me, Hilary. Sandra Parsons trying to get in. She needs somebody to let her in.
Everyone is automatically let in, so that's not an issue. This is
Okay.
I have an open door on my settings. So she may be pushing the wrong buttons. So please guide her through. So at any rate, we've covered the objectives. District person is a link between the clubs and the district. Our governor Terry is on, and the district chair should be the governor's link, but also between the clubs and the entity that you represent or the cause that you represent. So let's keep that in mind. We have basically two duties. One is to report from and follow the directives of our wonderful governor, and the other is to really connect with those clubs and your entity. We hope that each district chairperson has knowledge about the global action team. And one would think that this is sort of a minor deal, but it is, as I'll show you, really critical to the health of our respective districts. Global Action Team starts at the top with the international officers and works its way down through the multiple district and the districts, GLT, GMT, GST. I'm going to assume everyone on this call knows what those acronyms mean. And then at the club level, we have seen most clubs have a membership chair. Some, I'm not going to say many, have a service chairperson, and maybe a few have a leadership chairperson. So that it looks like that might be where we're headed, is for Lions International to start encouraging us to have those three chairpersons in place at the club level. And I know that's a struggle for smaller clubs. So it may or may not actually transpire going forward. So let's get into a bit of an activity here. I'm going to ask everyone if they have a pencil and paper handy or something to write on, or take out their phone and scribing device and just jot down a few things. But if you could just jot down at your workstation there some district chairperson responsibilities. That's what the screen is asking. District chairperson responsibilities. Can you name some district chairperson responsibilities? And so jot down a few, if you would. I'll give you another minute or so. And we're doing this activity so that we can review some of the chairperson responsibilities. We can compare notes. You can see how many you may have listed. So I'm going to move on here. We have responsibilities to our great association as chairpersons. We serve as representative of Lions International as well as to our governor. Governor Terry should be involved as basically an ad hoc committee member of any of your meetings as a chairperson. I hope that you will include her, at least by invitation. She may not. In fact, it's likely that she will be able to attend any meetings you call, but as a courtesy, one should always invite our governor to attend those meetings. And if it's applicable, a GMT, GST, GLT. Of course, visiting the clubs in the district is something that is an expectation of all chairs. And I want to get off a little bit on a tangent here, because one of the things that we tend to overlook is attending other events, whether it's a fundraiser or a service project that club is doing, because those informal meetings can be much more productive in building the relationships with the club than actually attending a dinner meeting or a membership gathering where you are basically on an agenda, you speak, and then you go back to your seat. So I would strongly encourage you to consider going to service or fundraising activities in particular. If a club has not offered you an invitation, or if a club has shut you out, which does happen. I'm fully aware of that, and that we can have some discussion on as far as challenges. Other responsibilities include keeping our newest clubs informed, and that's where GMT comes in. We have a bunch of new clubs in our district, relatively new clubs. In the last 5 or 6 years, we've had 5 or 6 new clubs. They may not know what, for instance, CRIS is, or CLERF, or some of the other acronym-driven LLVC, low vision. So it's really important that you as a chair figure out a way to get our newest clubs informed about your entity. Because I'm going to tell you right now, being in the trenches with some of these new clubs, they don't have a clue what some of you folks do. So please make sure that the entity you represent is that there's information provided to our newest clubs. As far as GLT, and this is, you might say, well, that's a stretch as a cabinet chairperson being connected to GLT, leadership development and succession planning and so forth. But if you read this, it's really important that we all keep our eyes open for Eileen Akers, for Jim Tripp. As they come up the ladder, they're going to need to hear from you. If you spot somebody with great leadership potential to come on the cabinet or to be a zone chair, please let our future leaders know that. It's of critical importance. So that's the GL or leadership link to you being a chairperson. Please embrace that. Promote our global initiatives. Many of which, if not sometimes all, connect to, for instance, in the case of LCIF, connect to many of our cabinet chair specialties. So connect as far as that goes, connect the global initiatives and the global strategies and so forth to that. And I would hope by questioning and answering maybe your predecessors or district personnel that you have some basic level of knowledge of each club's involvement in the specialty area, as it says. So the final thing, we have a number of new chairpersons on this call, so you may not know which clubs were visited in past years. That's another opportunity for you to lean on the person that held your job prior, so that you know whether a club has or has not been visited recently. And then finally, our participation in district, multiple district, international projects, whether it's at the Lions conventions or boiled down to our district trainings or our multiple district midwinter conference and state conventions. Make sure that you are on the team. And if you're heading a team, say for midwinter, to put on a display, to offer a seminar, I would strongly encourage cabinet chairpersons to be involved in that, at least participate in those things. But an invitation should go out from the multiple district chairperson in your area to you to participate at the state level. So look for that. And if it's not there, feel free to reach out to that multiple district chairperson. And of course, promoting yourself and promoting any other acts that our governor thinks are appropriate. So we'll open up the mics again. And I'd like to hear from you folks how many of these responsibilities you have, and were there any that, I guess, first of all, I'd like to hear, were there other responsibilities that some of you may have jotted down that we didn't name in the previous few screens? So please go ahead and unmute yourselves if you like.
All right, I'll go first, if you don't mind.
Great, terrific.
So, I added service and service reporting, membership reporting. It seems to be always something we have to remind clubs, especially new clubs, about. You took the storm from leadership because you mentioned all that, all the educational, whether it's our subcommittees or committees, comes under the GLT and it has to be promoted. And I don't know if you're doing it in your district, but we just added a GET for club extension. So we're always looking to form new clubs. You've been very successful in C in the last couple of years in new clubs. And then there's also retention that we're always trying to work on, retaining the members that we seem to lose every year as we gain them.
Sure. Terrific, Mark. You know, that's a good one. I'm going to add to it, the reporting that should be on there under the roles and responsibilities as well. Good catch. Any others want to chime in?
I have one, actually
Sure.
two. I think communicating effectively and with enthusiasm to be positively representing what we're here to do, but not so much take charge of other people's activities, but just be there to support what they're doing and just be positive. Even if somebody's done something different than your club would do it, embrace change. I think that's very important from what I've seen.
You got that right. Nicely done. Any others?
I have actually I have two. And I think it kind of goes along with what Lisa said, that you should realize that when you are out doing service at with other clubs, or just having zone meetings or talking with other Lions, that you represent the LCI and the district, and that, you know, the things you are talking about and promoting should be aligned with what LCI and the district views are, not your own personal things. And also know the chain of command of who to go to if you're having issues.
Mm-hmm.
Good job. And we probably have time for one more. Anybody else?
Having been cabinet secretary, I would just urge people, if you're on the agenda to give a report at a cabinet meeting, get those reports in quickly, because that's what we use as the basis for the minutes of a cabinet meeting.
That's a great point.
Good point. Governor, anything?
I just said to invite yourselves to the clubs. So I know if I could use Lion Lynn Johnson's expertise, she was great last year with CLERF, because she found clubs who perhaps hadn't bought into CLERF in terms of donations, and sent personal letters to them and encouraged them to have her come to their meetings. And so I really like the way that was done with the invitation, you know, personal invitation, and just she did some little bit of research, and I appreciated that, Lynn. And I think you found that, tell me if I'm wrong, that you had some great results.
Yes, I looked back in the data to see what clubs had been donating to CLERF and which hadn't. I sent them sort of an informational letter and told them I was available to them. And as Nanette will attest as well, we got a number of invites for giving nights, and some of those giving nights or checks, whether it was a giving night or not, came from some of the clubs we reached out to that had not in the past given.
Excellent, excellent feedback, and I've added some items. Thank you all. Those are a few things that I'll add to this PowerPoint for the next victim that runs this seminar. So thank you, Lynn. I'm going to also add, because Charlie Wynn couldn't be with us tonight from Chris Radio, but he does what you do, Lynn, and he sends out letters to each club, and he's gotten a fairly decent response to them. And whether he's invited to their night of giving or a meeting, or they just send their calendar to him, he has found those that the mailing to be very effective. He also brought up strongly the nights of giving, that's a wonderful opportunity for you all to get your message across. And so again, Charlie wanted to bring up that he also is a believer in, although his time limits him in attending the non-meeting gatherings of clubs, again, whether it be a service or fundraising. And finally, avoiding the hard sell. That is something you have to, it's sort of like sales out in the real world. You have to it's about relationship building and building trust, and then folks will listen to your message. But coming on a little too strong in the beginning can sometimes be very counterproductive to your efforts. So I will caution you about that. So I was hoping to have a nice open discussion also regarding some of the strengths and opportunities, challenges, and threats. I mean, what types of roadblocks? I think the challenges and threats are what our chairs need to hear. We've heard a bunch of success stories and so forth, but if we could hear from a few of you veteran chairpersons some of the roadblocks that you've encountered. So please weigh in as you like. We're doing a nice job of going in one after the other. So if somebody has something that they've encountered that we haven't mentioned yet, let's hear from you.
Crickets.
Can a new person say something?
Of course.
I'm just teasing you, you know that, but one of the difficult things, which is a challenge, is a lot of clubs don't work with internet very well, the members themselves. And for whatever reason, whether they don't trust it or anything like that, and they don't do well with the technical part of a Zoom meeting. They just don't like that. And honestly, because they don't do the email very well, I'm at a loss of how to really communicate what I really want them to know. They should be appraised of what's going on immediately rather than waiting 4 months down the road where I could meet with them. So that's my challenge.
I'm with you, Susan, and others may have a suggestion for you. My suggestion is just go to their events. Just go find out from either their website or Facebook, which seems to be more so prominent today, or district doings, but figure out what event they have coming up and just go there and share your message with individual Lions. And it may not sink in the first year, the second year, what your specialty item is, but just keep chipping away. That's my advice.
Thank you.
Hilary,
Please, go ahead.
just a note on that same realm, when Salesforce comes online, if a member does not have an email, they will not be able to log into
Yeah.
LCR. So it's going to be even more of a problem, especially in the older clubs where you have members that don't want to participate. It won't let you log in with a phone number anymore.
Yeah, and to add to that note, couples can no longer share an email address,
Right, it's got to be individuals.
and they have to be
That's-
tied to your membership number, each individual, correct? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's even more of a challenge.
Good point. So again, those are some of the things that as the governor's messenger to these clubs, jot that down. It's worth mentioning. Thank you, Mark.
Sure.
Any others? Okay, well, hearing none, I will move on. Resources. Let's just talk about a few resources. There are resources that the governor, that Governor Terry or the other governors in our multiple have at their disposal. One is to reward you, for instance, for good service. Could be a motivator, whether it is an LCIF has a lot of built-in recognition, but cabinet meeting recognition from our governors is always wonderful to hear that you've been doing a good job. However, the governor chooses to recognize your good work, your effort, your success, and it's not always going to happen in the first year that you are a cabinet chair, but believe me, if you stick with this, you'll see results, and the recognition will come with it. But I think more importantly are the resources that the Lions Learning Center offers you specifically as a district chairperson. And public speaking, I think, is right up there. There's also a session on impromptu speaking that is offered, I believe, on the Lions Learning Center. And that those two should definitely be taken by each and every one of you. So I would strongly encourage you to do impromptu speaking and public speaking courses. The others, effective teams, goal setting, leadership development, also any of those areas worth taking a quick peek at, because they're all going to help you hone your skills to become a better, more effective cabinet chairperson. And finally, the impromptu speaking one is one that leads me to something that is near and dear to my heart, and that is in canvassing, for instance, it's important that you have that elevator speech and that you mold that elevator speech to the audience. So I'm going to just randomly pick from our participants, because I want to hear, let's hear from Lynn Johnson, because I know Lynn probably has a pretty decent elevator speech about the entity that she represents. So Lynn, I'm going to put you up first. I'm going to put the heat on you. I want to hear your elevator speech.
Okay. CLERF, Connecticut Lions Eye Research Foundation, is one entity that goes across all 3 districts in the state of Connecticut. It's been around for about 67 years, and it has provided millions of dollars to research in the state, which has resulted in the KidSight screening, Yale having a pediatric eye vision center, so children don't have to go out of state, and also working on things like river blindness and glaucoma.
Bravo. Nicely done. I love it. All right, somebody else want to chime in? Nicely done, Lynn.
I'm gonna be the devil's advocate. What's Kids Site? PCC Nanette Burdick.
How did I know you were gonna do that? Pediatric vision screening. Kids Site is open to children, the screening is open to children from 6 months to 6 years and beyond. Now we're involved in the elementary, middle, and high school. And what we do is it's a statewide, and now it's a nationwide vision screening program that identifies treatable or preventable causes of blindness in children. As I said, from 6 months to 6 years, and extended into the elementary, middle, and high school.
Bravo. Another brave soul willing to share. So who else would like to share their elevator speech?
Well, I don't have mine fully crafted, but I'm gonna jump in there anyway, a little impromptu. So I would like to talk about marketing. Why is marketing important for your clubs? It's not just about a good flyer, which is important though. It's not about using social media. It's not about television, community radio. So marketing of your projects and your club is so that people know you exist and that you're supporting the community, and then to get the community back to support you.
Bravo as well. Nicely done. And
All right, I'll jump in, Hilary.
well, go ahead, Darla.
I'm your new, my spiel is I'm your new zone chair, and I'd like to have a chance to serve you and help you in any form or any way that I possibly can. And
That's good.
That's
good. That's good. I like that a lot. That's terrific. And who's up next? Come on, don't be shy.
Darla, maybe you could share the peace poster. That was because you did that so well last year.
I don't know if our peace poster chair made it on.
no, she didn't.
Oh, what a bummer. Okay.
She's computer illiterate. With the peace poster, what I did was I contacted every president and every secretary, because I didn't have names of who was running the peace poster, and reached out to them and gave them a description of what was needed for the peace poster, what the final date was, and made sure that I told them that anything received afterwards wouldn't be accepted, and told them that if they needed any help with it or needed anything more to do with the peace poster, I'd be happy to reach out and touch bases with them. And that was my spiel.
Very kind of you. Well, thank you, Darla. And I'm going to put, let's find another victim here we can put on the spot. We can do, Lisa, do you have one for what you're representing?
Well, since I'm not exactly sure what my Kindness Matters chairpersonship entails, how about if I go with the Leos? Because I am involved with the Leos.
That's
Okay.
perfect. Yep.
Okay, so the Leos are the pre-Lion membership for 12 to 18-year-olds that show that lion spirit before they are adults. It gets them right into the mode of becoming a lion once they become adults. but they get a number of exposure to not only their own service projects, but hand in hand with Lions, they learn how to grow into that role once they move forward. That's my little canned speech.
And there's opportunity for leadership as well.
Nicely done. Nicely done.
Thank you. That was
And-
impromptu.
That was good.
I have to say, I'm gonna steal all of your ideas.
Past
Look at her
Council.
lurking in the back there.
Ooh,
That's it.
lurking. No, you
Lurking.
guys sound so like I'm so encouraged to hear how you all speak so well about your focus areas. Thank you.
Yeah, if you try to describe it in 4 to 5 sentences, and folks will get the message, and you'll be able to spread the word much more succinctly. I did hear some ums in some of your presentations, but that's just me as a coach of Faculty Development Institute spilling over into this. But practice your elevator speeches, and again, be on the balls of your feet and adjust them for the audience that you're speaking to. You may, in some cases, be talking to parents about Leos, and other times you're talking or speaking to a lion about Leos. So you're going to have to adjust it for the particular audience that you're speaking to as well, is my recommendation. So we've covered impromptu speaking and elevator speeches, which is something that practice. And if you're uncomfortable doing it, my advice is to practice it in front of your video on your phone, and then watch yourself. And you might pick up some uncomfortable pauses, a lot of you knows, or that type of thing. But my recommendation is sometime when you have a few minutes, throw your elevator speech on your phone and then play it back and watch yourself in video mode and see how you do, and judge for yourself what you can do to do better in your presentation. So that's that. I'm going to move forward because we're getting close on time. This is supposed to be a 45-minute session. And then finally, I touched on this earlier. Please don't forget your predecessors, those that were in your role prior to you taking over. If you need some help with that, any of us that have older directories can search out the people that held your position, even going back 5 or 6 or 7 years, because these folks are going to have some valuable input for you, whether it's a difficult club or mastering the subject matter, strengths or weaknesses that they see in certain clubs in the area that you are charged with. So please don't forget reaching out to your co-chairs, meaning others that are doing the same job you're doing, as well as your predecessors. And I'm pleased to see a session like this aimed at chairpersons in our districts, and I would hope that whoever our GLT is next year will do a similar session. It doesn't have to be me, but just as long as we keep this going, I think that would be productive and valuable, especially this time of year. And then finally, I just want to thank everybody reviewing our objectives. We wanted to look at the roles. We also wanted to look at your duties as a district chairperson. And I think at least everybody on this call impressed the heck out of me with where you are in your respective fields. You all seem to have a wonderful grasp of things. Lisa is developing hers as far as the Kindness Matters deal, but that'll come right along, I think, because we're adopting kindness as one of our informal platforms internationally. So that's going to come very much into focus. And of course, the resources that are available to you, whether it's the Lions Learning Center or other resources leaning on each other. So with that, I'd certainly be open to hearing from anybody that wants to share any final thoughts here, and we'll give the governor the last word. But if does anybody want to add any a cherry on top to this session before we close on time?
And Governor Rick Sapone, he came just in time to say goodbye. You must have been at another meeting. I'm sorry you missed. It was a good 45 minutes of discussion and interchange, and thank you, Hilary, for allowing that to happen, for being our facilitator and for taking that time out to do this. And like you say, I think it's important for every next year too to do it, and beginning of the year is perfect. I do want to I'll ask the other districts, District A, because I don't think we have anyone here from District B, do we?
No.
Okay. So who writes the thank you letters? Let's say a club donates to CLRF. Does anyone, or that's not a good example. How about diabetes initiative or something like that? Do you have your cabinet treasurer write thank you notes? Because we want
Usually
to.
the committee chair is supposed to send a thank you and then copy to the secretary. If not, the secretary will do it. The chair should
Okay,
do that.
So that's something that we need to talk about. I think that's very important to do. And I think Mary Jane Malavasi in our districts has been doing a lot of that, and I'm not so sure she should be. I'm thinking it might. Susan, what about an LCIF? Have you done any of those, or Lynn Johnson and CL and CLRF?
I haven't had that chance to do that, honestly. But it does bring to mind, especially the nights of giving that occurred just before the end of the fiscal year. I think we can go back and look at that. Thank you for bringing it up.
Yeah, just a thought. I think clubs would appreciate hearing that their donations were, appreciated, and how they're being used, even, if that's the case.
Mm.
And it should be I'm guessing a handwritten note or even a form letter specifically to them rather than an email, Governor, I think you're suggesting.
Yes, yeah. Make it more meaningful, and something to think about. And one of my priorities is to celebrate more this year. So celebrate people, celebrate clubs, and I hope that I hope we do that.
Well, again, thank you very much, Governor. Anything from you, since we have two governors on here? Rick, you want to say anything?
No, I'm just sorry I got attended so late. I was trying to get on. The marker filming in.
It's all
Oh,
good.
yes.
It's all good, and welcome. And I'm seeing Steve Martin wiggled off the hook and got away with without having to say too much. Steve, congratulations, you. But everybody else got at least made one or two comments during the session. I'm tickled with that, the participation. And with that, I'm going to close this session. And thank you all for so much for attending. And now go get them. Bravo.
Thank you all.
Hillary.
Thank you, Hillary.
Good night,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank
Good
you.
night. Hey, Jim.
Have a
Good
good
night,
night.
everybody.
Thank you.